The Iowa Spirit on 8.
It's 6 o'clock. And now live from Iowa's leading news station, Paul Rose, Kevin Cooney, Connie McBurney with weather, and Pete Taylor sports. This is TV-8 News, live at 6.
Good evening. 2 Des Moines men were charged today with operating an enormous shoplifting operation, netting more than $70,000 worth of books, tapes, VCRs, and electronic equipment. The property room at the Des Moines Police Station is a sight tonight, filled to the brim with merchandise found in the home of Ricky Allen Novak and Park Heller, both of 6208 Forest. The 2 men have been charged with conspiracy to commit theft. Novak faces an additional first-degree theft charge. Prosecutor Maggie Moss alleges the men often worked in the stores they robbed. She believes they also used an old con artist routine, with one distracting a store clerk, the other then concealing merchandise in his clothes. Novak has been released on bond. Heller is still in jail tonight.
Iowa's Secretary of Agriculture Dale Cochran says corn losses in the state may be cut in half if the current break in the drought continues. Cochran says while some parts of the state may be too far gone to be saved, other areas have benefited substantially from the recent rains. The state ag secretary and Iowa Congressman Dave Nagel also today were praising the financial drought assistance bills that were passed yesterday by the U.S. House and Senate. Steve Oswald reports.
The results of the drought of 1988 are still fresh in our minds. But recent rains have improved the picture. These maps released today by the Iowa Department of Agriculture prove it. July 9th, this much of Iowa's corn crop was in good or fair condition. Nearly 2 weeks later, on July 22nd, the amount of corn in good or fair condition had grown considerably.
We're cutting back on the estimates of loss now. That is, if we continue to have normal rainfall. We got to keep in mind, of course, our subsoil moisture is so much less than it has been other years, too.
Cochran says corn, hay, and soybean losses from the drought may already top $2.5 billion in Iowa alone. But help is on the way in the form of a financial drought assistance bill now heading to a conference committee in Washington. Iowa Congressman Dave Nagel, who helped form the bill, says farmers who can wait should not take advantage of some of the federal programs now so they can cash in on the new drought aid bill late this fall.
Farmers got some choices, and I think the best thing to do is wait till we get it in shape, the regulations. As long as you know it's coming in October, if you can wait till October, it may be more prudent to do so.
However, a farmer may not be able to wait that long. In that case, he better go in and talk into his ASCS office, because all the counties in the state are eligible for this assistance program.
President Reagan's expected to sign the drought assistance bill in about 2 weeks, but it could be another 3 months before farmers get their first checks. Those who fill out their financial assistance forms quickly could expect the checks about November 15th. Steve Oswald, TV-8 News.
Home sales in the greater Des Moines area fell sharply in July compared to June. According to officials at the Greater Des Moines Board of Realtors, just under 600 homes were sold this month compared to 714 in June. But the figures for July of last year show little change between 87 and 88. The average price of a new home sold in the multiple listings in July was just over $68,000.
Well, this will not be the last year for balloons in Indianola. However, it will be the last year for the National Hot Air Balloon Championships. The festivities are getting underway at this hour, and we've sent TV-8 Sue Mason to Indianola to catch the flavor and excitement. We also sent some TV-8 staffers to catch a balloon. So, Sue, are they up and away tonight?
Well, Kevin, not yet. They're meeting at this hour, choosing teams and that right now. But this is it. This is the beginning of the National Balloon Championships here in Indianola. Balloonists are still pulling into the official balloon field. And behind me, spectators are lining up their lawn chairs and finding a place to view the extravaganza. As you know, the weather must be almost perfect. So organizers have been testing the wind conditions to see if the pilots will be able to go up. 100 pilots are competing this week for the title of U.S. Hot Air Balloon Champion. 100 others are just here to fly, have fun, and show off their balloons. The pilots say even though next year the event here in Indianola will not be sanctioned by the Balloon Federation of America, they plan to be back.
You know, I live in Des Moines. I travel all over the United States and race, but this is a great place to fly. It's the place to have the championships. It really is. No matter where you go in this country, Ohio, Indiana, there's not a better place than Indianola, Iowa. The balloon event will survive because balloons are always able to attract a big crowd. I think that the sanctioning of the Nationals will travel from city to city, and I'm not too sure that's a bad idea to expose other cities to this kind of event. I think Indianola will always be Indianola, and yeah, Thunder and Colt will be back without fail.
Now, earlier this afternoon, the official opening of the National Balloon Museum, and we're going to be showing that. Here we go, and here's ribbon cutting ceremonies. It is the country's only museum dedicated solely to ballooning. It has several displays, including trophies, championship balloons, baskets, pins, and ballooning memorabilia. The museum is open all week long to the public, and there is no admission. Now, we are waiting right now for the first official event of the week, and that is the Media Balloon Contest. And our own Allison Gilman will be going up in that with the photographer, so we should have some pretty nice pictures for you. And right now, I guess the problem is the weather. It is a little bit warm and a little bit windy, so they're waiting, and they hope by 7 or 7:30 they should be able to go up. That contest includes each person is given a 10-pound bag of flour, and they must throw it and try to hit a target on the ground, and the person that comes closest to it will be the winner. And so we're all going to be rooting Allison on here.
All right, Sue, now I assume that Allison is not piloting the balloon, however, she probably will be throwing that bag of flour. Is that a correct assumption?
Exactly, yeah. The pilots have been choosing, each person had a number, and each person from a different media will be going up. So, yeah, she's not going to be piloting the balloon.
All right, Sue. Thanks a lot, and we'll have more tonight at 10.
Thank heavens for that. There's more to come tonight on TV-8 News. Michelle Parker reporting on Des Moines' plan to pay teachers more for doing more and doing better.
And our nightly RAGBRAI report. Tonight, Dana Carden looks at some of the more unusual scenes of the annual bicycle trek across the state. This fall, Iowa teachers will be getting extra pay for classroom performance and extracurricular activities at their schools. This is all part of the third phase of a massive state education bill that was passed by the state legislature 2 years ago. The purpose? Keep good teachers in Iowa and attract new teachers to the state. Des Moines is now working on implementing its merit pay plan for teachers at a cost of about $2.5 million. TV-8's Michelle Parker tonight looks at how it will all work.
These teachers from Windsor Elementary School in Des Moines are hard at work on a special project. It's a calendar designed to help parents plan special activities for their children at home. There are activities for each month.
We've had poems, and we've puzzles and game boards to make, and puppets and recipes for things for them to cook. And each grade level is going to have a calendar.
The teachers are being paid to develop the calendar under Des Moines' so-called Phase 3 plan. Under the plan, teachers are paid for their performance in the classroom and for extracurricular activities such as this calendar.
We're able now to do some things that we really did not have the time to do before.
Participation in Des Moines' Phase 3 plan is voluntary. Besides the extra money for additional duties and activities or proven performance in the classroom, teachers also can be paid for completing certain staff development courses. They can be reimbursed for conference expenses or other professional growth activities. There are 4 career levels for which teachers can apply. Each level requires a certain amount of experience, education, and service to the district.
For the first time, they can really strengthen their own performances by resources that we're providing for them.
Committees have been working on how to implement various components of the Phase 3 plan. Here, district staffers get some expert advice on how to evaluate teachers from Richard Manat of Iowa State University.
The challenge now is to translate that into a performance appraisal system that exalts good teaching, that helps all teachers get better, but doesn't imply that there's just one way to be an effective teacher.
Michelle Parker, TV-8 News.
Only 55 miles to go. That thought is probably on the minds of most RAGBRAI riders as they arrived in Fairfield today, which is the last overnight stop before tomorrow's big finish in Fort Madison. Our on-the-road coverage continues with an observation by Dana Carden that RAGBRAI is more than bikes.
It's no secret, the key ingredient that makes RAGBRAI so fun and so interesting is the colorful people. On every hilltop, at every roadside refreshment stand, at every Indian teepee, well, you'll find someone with a story to tell. So we've gone through some of the dozens of tapes that our TV-8 photographers have shot this week to introduce you to some of the more interesting folks that we've met along the way. Folks like Wendy Urick and her dog Melbourne Marie. The two are riding RAGBRAI together, Wendy up front, Mel in a milk carton behind.
She loves to ride in cars and trucks and boats, and so I said, well, put her in a bike.
Mel even has her own water bottle. And then there's the raisin lady, who's been riding the 433-mile route with a California raisin on her helmet.
I was riding alone this year, and I needed a gimmick so people would talk to me, and it worked.
Ed Gillis wanted people to talk to him, too, so he left the 10-speed at home and is pedaling RAGBRAI on a single-speed Schwinn, a 1939 man riding a 1941 bike. He says gears are for wimps.
A lot of people stop and talk to me. Which is holding up better, the man or the bike? Things like that.
Well, which is holding up
better? I think the bike is today.
Paul and Karen Varnum of Ames decided to forego the sights of Niagara Falls. For them, RAGBRAI is more than a bike ride. It's their honeymoon.
Just seemed like a real fun thing to do. It was a real good way to get to know each other. You see each other at your best and your worst.
7,500 people are joining me on my honeymoon.
And as this couple demonstrates, you don't have to be just married to ride side by side into the sunset. Dana Carden on the road with RAGBRAI 16.
TV-8's Rick Swalwell rolled into Fairfield along with the rest of the riders today, and he'll have more on the RAGBRAI journey tonight on the TV-8 News Live at 10 as those 7,500 bicyclists near the Mississippi River.
John McLaughlin is with us now for a look at the weather and a balloon forecast.
A balloon forecast, indeed. Right now, conditions are kind of good for balloon flying if you stay on the ground. Once you get up, the winds are quite strong, and I guess that's what's holding them down right now. So we'll talk about that and the rest of the weather when we come back.
For the latest official weather forecasts, 24 hours a day, call TV-8 Weather in Des Moines 262-7173 or toll free in Iowa 1-800-262-7173. Another extra from TV-8 News.
Well, they're starting to get those balloons heated up down there in Indianola. The surface winds down there right now are only around 3 miles an hour, but once you get up a little ways, it's really gusting. We'll talk about the weather down there in just a minute. Right now, let's take a look at the weather in Des Moines. Mostly sunny skies, 93 degrees. We have north winds only around 3 miles an hour at the surface, 46% relative humidity in the barometer now. On the way down to 9.99. Around the state, temperatures are still very warm, 88 in Marshalltown, 90 in Waterloo. A little cooler back towards Carroll with 84 degrees. A lot of heat down to the southeast with 93 in Ottumwa currently and 91 in Burlington. 93 was our high today in Des Moines, and we started out at 69 early this morning. And around the nation, plenty of heat no matter where you look in the midsection is just not letting up. Even with a cold front starting to work its way down through Minneapolis back towards Grand Island, Nebraska, the air behind that front is just as warm as the air out ahead, so not much relief can be expected with that. Here's a look at the frontal system. Clouds and some shower activity along that. Another disturbance down here in Missouri now working its way towards the northeast, producing some shower activity. The combination of these two should bring some showers across central Iowa later tonight. It looks now, if we do get showers, it will be after sunrise, so it's kind of slowing down a bit. Here's a look at the shower activity on CompuRadar along the front and with that disturbance in the south. Because of the combination of these two air masses and the instability from that, severe thunderstorm watch is in effect. It does include just the northwest portion of Iowa from Kossuth County back towards around the Spirit Lake area and down towards Sioux City. For Iowa tonight, again, I look at that severe thunderstorm watch until 10 o'clock. Temperatures in the upper 60s north to around 70 in the south. 40% chance of rain here in central Iowa after sunset tonight, around 50% for the south, and as you get back up towards the north in the Fort Dodge area and back up towards Dubuque, you're talking about a 30% chance of rain. And then for tomorrow, a few lingering showers in central Iowa, about a 20% chance. Best chance of rain for tomorrow will be extreme southeast Iowa. Temperatures warming up just about as warm as today, but winds will be out of the north at around 10 miles an hour. If you're flying balloons or want to go watch the balloons fly, we'll take a look at the current balloon flying conditions. It's 91 degrees right now in Indianola. The surface winds are south-southwest at 3 miles an hour, and there's some scattered clouds at about 4,000 feet, so that shouldn't cause much of the problem. Here's the problem, the forecast winds aloft. Once you get up to 1,500 feet above sea level, which is about 500 feet above the ground, you can see the winds are 15 to 20 miles an hour, and all the way up to 9,000 feet, those winds are quite strong, so that might blow them a long ways away from Indianola if they do indeed get off the ground. Now let's take a look at the forecast for Des Moines and central Iowa. Variable cloudiness, a 40% chance of scattered thunderstorms tonight, a low near 75. South-southwest winds at around 10 miles an hour. Tomorrow, partly sunny, a slight chance of a morning thunder shower, high around 90 with north winds at 10. And tomorrow night, partly cloudy. Look for a low again around 70. Sunday, partly sunny, a high in the lower 90s, so not much relief from the heat. The extended forecast doesn't offer anything better. Looks like 90s at least through Wednesday. Again, in Des Moines right now, 93 degrees. That's been our daytime high.
And need that rain tonight.
Indeed.
Thanks, John. The Blank Park Zoo welcomed its latest resident today. His name is Zach. Zach is an Asian lion, the first male lion to be exhibited at the Blank Park Zoo since it reopened back in 1986. Zach weighs in at 367 pounds. He's a gift from the Knoxville Zoo in Tennessee. Asian lions are an endangered species. There are only 237 such lions in the wild forests of India. Zach will be introduced to one of the zoo's 3 lady lions in about 3 weeks.
What do you say? Zach, here are the ladies. I guess how you introduce them. Zach can meet anyone he wants to. Pete, a little football, a little baseball tonight.
Right. Zach should have been in Marshalltown today because West Lyon played. He got the kick out of that, right? We'll be back to tell you about the baseball and the Shrine football coming up after these messages. Centerville and Oldwine scored victories today in the Class 3A division of the state baseball tournament in Marshalltown. Centerville picked up a run in the 7th inning to beat Cedar Rapids LaSalle 4-3 and advance to the championship game tomorrow night. Meanwhile, Oldwine stopped West Lyon 4-2 in the other semifinal round game played this afternoon. A pair of Metro schools will be in action tonight in the Class 4A semifinal round. Dowling, top rated in 4A, is playing Dubuque Hempstead in a game that started just about 20 minutes ago. And that'll be followed by Ames and Davenport Central in the night's second game. 2 games are underway in Major League Baseball this evening. Boston leads Milwaukee 6-2 in the 6th inning in the first of 2. And Texas and Detroit are also playing a doubleheader, and that first game is tied 1-1 in the 5th inning. Iowa native Mike Boddicker of the Baltimore Orioles was traded today. He was sent to the Red Sox for AAA prospect Brady Anderson and AA pitcher Kurt Schilling. Boddicker 6-12 this season with an ERA of 3.86. Action today in the Volvo International Tennis Tournament. Andre Agassi in the near court against Jay Berger. Berger with some nice returns, but Agassi wins the point with the backhand volley. Agassi is the 2nd seed in the tournament, and he won today's match with a beautiful passing shot coming up here as Berger came to the net. Agassi the winner in straight sets. The 16th annual Shrine Bowl All-Star football game will take place at the Unidome tomorrow night in Cedar Falls. Players and coaches from both squads were in Des Moines yesterday visiting Adventureland. And TV-8's Jeff Johnson talked with some of the players and coaches about tomorrow night's contest.
Well, it's real exciting to play with some of the best players. I was a little bit worried about what the competition would be like up here, but me and the other Des Moines players have fit in very well, and it's real exciting. I'm looking forward to all this.
I don't know, it's a really good experience to get to know all these guys from places that I didn't, some of these places I hadn't even heard of. And they're just as good as players players from the big schools.
It's good because when college starts the first 2 days, then you'll be on a jump ahead of everybody else, and you won't be like huffing and puffing like everybody else is. You'll already be in shape a little bit, so you'll be a step ahead.
It's going to be quite a game. You know, we've had some spirited scrimmages amongst ourselves, and when you're going to play somebody who you've developed a rivalry with in 2 weeks, there's going to be some real sticking going on.
Yesterday, the Chicago Bears made a big trade when they sent wide receiver Willie Gault to the LA Raiders for some future draft choices. Gault has had an outstanding career with the Bears, but he says he has no ill feelings about the deal.
There's no way I can have a bad taste in my mouth for Chicago, but Chicago is a wonderful city, great fans, wonderful friends that I left back there, so I don't have any ill feelings. It's just a business opportunity. It's time to move on. You cross crossroads, and God's put things in front of you for you to take advantage of them, and this was a crossroads in my life, and I had to take advantage of it, and I'm glad to be here.
And believe it or not, a couple of pro football games on tap for the weekend. Tomorrow, Cincinnati plays the Rams in Canton, Ohio in the annual Hall of Fame game. Then on Sunday, the 49ers take on the Dolphins in London, England.
Oh, that's great. In London. Thank you, Pete. Who says there's no such thing as a free lunch? A lot of people in downtown Des Moines over the noon hour got some free food, all thanks to the Iowa Games. The sponsors of the games, Norwest Bank and Anderson Erickson Dairy, threw a party in honor of the games and provided the meal this afternoon. The Iowa Games, by the way, run August 5th through August 7th up in Ames. At least 8,500 people are expected to participate in 18 sports during the Iowa Games.
Still ahead tonight, Cry Freedom will not play in South Africa. Details on that and other world news coming up next.
Just one day after Vietnam announced it has arranged for the first joint U.S.-Vietnamese searches for missing Americans, President Reagan has ordered a comprehensive study of the POW MIA issue, and the president promised that the United States will do all it can. Earlier, speaking to the National League of POW MIA families, the president said that normalization of relations with Hanoi can come only in the context of a political settlement in Cambodia. Official Vietnamese radio says Washington has agreed in return to adopt an active attitude toward Vietnam's humanitarian problems. South Africa's police commissioner today ordered copies of the film Cry Freedom confiscated. He says the film endangers public safety. Police raided theaters that were showing the film today, just a couple of hours after the government had approved the release of the film. 2 bombs exploded at theaters where the movie was to be shown. There were no injuries. The movie is about black activist Stephen Biko, who died in police custody and has become a symbol of the anti-apartheid movement.
UN Secretary General Javier Perez de Cuellar is still working on a truce in the Iran-Iraq war, told reporters today to be patient as he meets with both sides in the 8-year-old war. Diplomatic sources said the talks are faltering because Iran refuses to meet directly with Iraq, but the UN officials said the talks are not in trouble. And things are looking better in the Rapid City, South Dakota area, where a forest fire has destroyed 15 homes at the edge of the city. Firefighters say they now have the blaze 80% contained. They hope to complete a fire line around the blaze by early tomorrow. It's one of the many fires that have sprung up in the Tinder Dry region. This one is believed set by an arsonist.
And the attorney for newspaper columnist Carl Rowan says his client is just dumbfounded that he has to be arraigned next week on charges of possessing an unregistered gun and ammunition. The charge is the result of an incident in which Rowan shot and wounded a teenager who jumped into the backyard of Rowan's home. The case against Rowan begins on Monday with Rowan's arraignment. If he's convicted, Rowan could be sentenced to 1 year in jail and fined $1,000. Coming up tonight on the TV-8 News Live at 10, we'll have more on the balloon championships just starting down in Indianola. And Rick Swalwell continues his reports on the road with RAGBRAI tonight from Fairfield. That's tonight at 10.
Big gain on Wall Street today. Dow Jones Industrials up 46 points. Average share up 63 cents. 192 million shares traded. Gold was up $3.60 an ounce. Silver up 10 cents. Here in Iowa, cattle steady. Hogs 50 cents to $1 lower. Corn was 10 to 14 cents higher. Beans 30 to 38 higher. John?
Might see a thunder shower yet tonight, probably after sunset. A low down around 70 degrees. Then tomorrow, partly sunny, another warm one with a high around 90. It's 93 in Des Moines, 91 down in Indianola.
And that's our news at 6. Thank you for joining us.